Hare Krishna. So we'll begin our book reading with first paying our obeisances to the deities of Sri Shadrapuram temple. बलदेवा प्रभु की जय, सुभद्रा मैया की जय, लॉर्ड जगन्नाथ की जय, गौरनताई की जय, पंचतत्वा की जय, लॉर्ड परशुराम की जय, लॉर्ड वामन देव की जय. Hare Krishna. We'll say our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are in chapter 2 of Sri Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Chapter is Contents of the Gita summarized. Today we will be reading Shloka 22nd of chapter 2. Vashamshi Jirnani Yatha Vihaya Navani Grinati Naro Aparani Tata Sharirani Vihaya Jirnani Anyani Samyati Navani Dehi. Translation: as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So from this we understand that by this time Arjuna is now surrendered to Lord Krishna, who although is his friend, now is acting as his guru and Arjuna as his disciples, and because he is perplexed, he is taking knowledge from Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna is removing his doubts, so he can do what he is here to do, which is he is in the battlefield, so he should, as a Kshatriya, he should be fighting. So thus Lord is now trying to give information or knowledge which will help him continue and perform his duty as a Kshatriya, and that will be his service to Lord Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada has given wonderful examples which to substantiate the truth related to this situation, related to Arjuna's confusion, and this is very well mentioned in scriptures like Bhagavad Gita here and also in Srimad Bhagavatam. So as per the scriptures, what Srila Prabhupada has mentioned is that there are 6 symptoms of presentation of or presence of the soul within the body. And of those, growth is one of those important ones. So we know that as soon as the soul is out of this body, there is no more growth. And this is because of the presence of the spiritual spark or soul within this material body. This body is growing from childhood to boyhood, and from boyhood to youthhood, and then finally to old age. So this we have experienced and seen within this life. So we know that in childhood, as an infant, our body is different, and when he's growing, as a he gets a different body. There is a transformation, and then he goes through youth, adolescent, and finally old age, and finally one has to give up his old body, right? And so this transformation is going on, but all through these stages the soul is same, and the proof is that the spirit soul does not change, the body changed, right? So we are growing, and I'm thinking I'm in childhood, and this I, so when we grow up or we think of our past or childhood or some situation, we know that when I say that I'm the same person, because let's say if I'm thinking that about my childhood and I remember some instance or recall some instance from my childhood, then that I is the same person, right, who was the same person, and he was able to recall what happened in his childhood, and he remembers and recalls all those things he did, and so but the childhood stage is over, that body is not there, it's a different body now, that is gone, that stage is gone. So the conclusion or the truth here is that the body has changed, but the I, that person, is the same. And this life, and after this life, or life after this life, you know, I may enter another body, but that doesn't matter, because that I shall remain same, and that I actually is the eternal soul. So when this body finally becomes useless in old age, and you know, so the soul gives up this particular, this soul, the real thing in the body, this soul gives up this body and takes another body. So here, vashamshi jirnani yatha vihaya, this is what it is. You giving up old dress, which is this body, and you're taking new dress, which is another body. So as it was mentioned in one of the previous shlokas in 2.13, tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuyati. So I am changing this body even in the present circumstances. Similarly, the ultimate change does not mean I'm dead. I just enter another body, which is explained here in this shloka, which is what Lord Krishna is trying to do to remove Arjuna's doubt. Vashamsi jirnani yatha, that I change. So we also know that, so you know, sometimes a man can, so a person can take birth, and he, in next life, he can take any, he can take a body of a man or a woman, any body. His body gets transformed, so there is no guarantee. So this also indicates that this body is a dress. So for example, in this life, if a man were to wear a woman's dress, say sari, that does not mean that man becomes a woman, right? So every living entity, every one of us, we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And this outward body or dress, that of a man or woman, this is what we are changing. So this also is proved here, and the body, the soul remains the same. That real person remains the same. We just accept another body. In subtle form, I am there. Na jayate, na mriyate. Therefore, there is no question of death or birth. So also we have seen that in modern age, because of modern medical treatment, they have already proved this. A male can be transformed into a female, and female into a male. All that can be done. So there is no connection as such with the gross body, the soul. The body changes either in this life through transformations of different stages, or after leaving this body and taking another body in next life. So Dehi, the living entity, is simply changing the dress, right? In this life, people say that, you know, they identify themselves with, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm African, and so, I'm from this place. All these are bodily identification, and this is not real identification. Real identification is not to be done with the dress of the or the body. It is the soul. But when people take to Krishna consciousness, they realize all this was material idea, all this was nonsense, and this is happening in entire throughout the world. So why this is happening? The reason is that because in this material world we have mentality to enjoy. Therefore, person is called Purusha, or you know, because of this mentality, he thinks that he is the real enjoyer, but the real enjoyer is Krishna. And we are doing all this, the reason we identify, because we are trying this to have some kind of material profit or material adoration, some kind of recognition or some material reputation we want to maintain, we want to achieve. And all this is happening because of this mentality. So we continue to have one body after another. We enter different types of body, and there is repeated birth and death, and all this is because of our forgetfulness also. But in everyone's heart there is Lord Krishna or Paramatma, who is situated in everyone's heart, and he's giving direction to the jiva soul according to the desires he has, right? But the living entity forgets. Initially he thinks, I want to do this. He has determination to perform a certain act, but he gets entangled in some kind of actions and reactions of his own karma, and because of this he is giving up this body, taking another body, and which is like a dress, and then he's taking another dress, right? So all these changes of the transmigration of the soul are happening because of the actions and reactions of his past activities. So one can understand that the spirit soul is same, it is evergreen, only the dress or the body is changing. Similarly, we know that in the beginning, Lord Brahma, who is the master of this entire, who is managing as God's assistant this entire material universe. Initially, and he is the Lord's most powerful assistant. And initially, when Brahmaji um, found himself on the lotus flower, right? He was also perplexed like Arjuna. And in Brahma's heart, Lord is present, just like he's present in our heart as Paramatma. So he gave, because Brahmaji at that time was perplexed in the beginning, and he was feeling alone, and he was wondering, what is this? And Lord Krishna at that time gave him instructions. Okay, you do this, you create this universe like this. Buddhi yogam dadamitam. I, that is Lord Krishna, gave him intelligence. So Srila Prabhupada says that everything is there. Knowledge, Krishna as Paramatma, there is Guru, everything is there, right? Krishna is always with us. So he is giving us instructions through scriptures, through his instructions as Sadhu or Guru, and we just have to take it. And when we are ready, we take his instructions and we do what he says. When we realize that we want to finish our material business here, and after giving this material body, Krishna promises that we will go back to him, we'll come to him. But if we want to continue in this material existence, then we will have to take one body after another, which is like a dress. And then we will come back into this material universe. We will go through all these stages, and we will be in this duality of happiness and sadness, right? And but all this can be removed with real knowledge, right? But if you want to continue our material existence, this is how it is. We will have to take another material body and suffer here or enjoy, which is also illusion. But we have to have a guru. Otherwise, if we there is no real knowledge. If we follow a wrong person, we are led by a blind person who is spiritually blind, and how he will lead us. And so this is what is happening to mass of society. Although everybody wants to be spiritually happy, but they are not finding it, because they end up with the wrong person. And you have to take knowledge of the scriptures, a guru who is teaching the scriptures, and then he will be leading us back home, back to Godhead, right? So this is what Krishna is trying to do, and this is what Krishna is trying to tell, that okay, by killing all your kinsmen who are on the opposite side, you will be doing them a favor. They'll simply transfer the body, an old body, he will get a new body, so there is no harm. And if he dies in a battlefield or performing some kind of sacrifice, then he is guaranteed a higher birth, either in heavenly planets, because with time the physiological functions of the body reduce, so one has to change the body. So Krishna is giving instructions to Arjuna. You just do your duty as a Kshatriya, and by killing them, all your opponents or your family members on the opposite side, they'll get a new body, guaranteed. This is the real message we have to take, and we just have to glorify. So the conclusion is, we are not the body, we are the soul, and Krishna is helping us by giving these instructions. And we have to take the real knowledge from the Guru or the scriptures or Paramatma seated in our heart. Only then we will be delivered. Hare Krishna. I just want to thank you all for joining this morning session. We will continue our chanting and book reading tomorrow. So please join, and thanks once again. Hare Krishna.